Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael, and as many of you know, I've been on a journey and taking you guys along with me for the ride to paying off over $140,000 worth of debt. Now, most of all that accumulation of debt started back when I graduated school in 2018. I graduated with my master's in occupational therapy, and since then I've actually been working as an occupational therapist both in home care settings and working with preschool age kids per diem. And as many of you who have watched my videos over the course of the last 2 years have noticed, I've made quite some big milestones in paying off my debt. I still have a little bit of a ways to go, but at the current pace I'm going right now, that debt will soon be over with, and then the fun will begin. In today's video, I want to do something which I have not done since this past February, which is track my net worth. And I've kind of put off tracking my net worth because it's, of all the videos I do, the one that requires the most amount of homework before filming. I hope you guys enjoyed today's net worth update, and I'm going to switch camera things now so that you guys have a better look, a better view of my net worth tracking spreadsheet. So we're going to go ahead and start putting in the numbers for May of 2023, and I should note right off the bat that these numbers are for the beginning of May, not the end of it, because it's not the end of May yet. And most of these numbers are actually going to be reflective of what April was. But just for the sake of documenting, I'm going to call this May. Anyway, let's start in first with the different categories in my asset column. Hopefully one day in the asset column, this will be expanded to maybe other properties and other forms of assets that will increase my overall net worth. But right now, with the current debt situation I'm in, I'm really just trying to get rid of that liability, and then I'll switch over and really target hard the asset column. So the first thing we gotta look at is my house. This is the perceived value on my home. I'll be honest with you guys, I say this every month, I don't get an appraisal or an assessment done on my house every single month just to calculate these videos. So I do use an online source called Zillow, which just you spit in your address and it gives you a potential value that your home is put at, which unfortunately it has gone down, but also not unfortunately. We don't even know if it's really all that accurate. So I'm just using it kind of as a baseline. And it says that my property is currently valued at $165,000, which is a little bit of a decline from the $170,300 that we saw back in February. But once again, it's okay. I'm not really in the mood, or I don't really want to sell my house right now. So it's okay that it says this. This isn't like too bad of a decline with my assets. That's not something that I can really control. So we're just going to let it be, not lose any sleep over it, and keep moving. The next thing we're going to take a look at is my vehicle, my car. This is my, my daily driver, which this vehicle actually drives quite a bit because I need it for work. I used the online source Kelley Blue Book, putting in the mileage that's on my vehicle, putting in the VIN number and all that stuff, and it spits out an estimate of what you could potentially sell your vehicle to if you had to sell it back. Obviously, it does go down, and you guys can see it's gone down by $2,000 since the beginning portion of this year, which seems rather steep. Usually it's a little bit slower than that, but maybe I just put it wrong in February, and this time I did it more accurately. I don't know, but that's what it gave me. We're going to move on now to a place that we will see some growth, which is my savings and cash. And the reason why we see such usually dramatic growth with my savings and cash is because of the current strategy I have in place for paying off my government student loans, which are that I'm putting my money into a high interest savings account, putting $3,000 every single month, basically since last April, almost $3,000 since last April, into this account, this high interest savings account with Ally Savings Bank. And the money sits there, it gains interest for when the time comes that the government student loans will be due again. So I checked my savings and cash before pressing record, and currently we are at $49,482, which is quite a bit of growth from February. Pretty much a little over $9,000 in growth, my savings and cash since February. which is pretty good. That's a pretty substantial amount to have grown in just, well, remember, this is calculating pretty much to the end of April. So in just 2 months, $9,000 growth. I like it. Beautiful. 401k. Nice. I finally did get most of the things worked out with my 401k. As you guys may have remembered from past videos where I talked about my 401k, my employer switched from T. Rowe Price to Charles Schwab, and now I'm sort of getting a hang of Charles Schwab, the website and interface. However, it's a little bit different. It displays things a little bit different. I don't even know if with Charles Schwab, with the 401k format that they have, I don't even know if I can choose the investments that I want. Back when it was with T. Rowe Price, I can select from a limited supply of the investments I want. And with Charles Schwab, it so far does not look like I can even choose the investments that I want. It just kind of says, here's like 10 investments, and we're going to divvy up your account the way we want to. So I had to look more into that. I tried to poke around and see if there's a way to even check the expense ratios. I couldn't find a way to do that. So I don't know if this needs to be a phone call to Charles Schwab to ask about more info and help with that. If any of you use Charles Schwab for anything, whether it's your 401k or regular investments, be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me if I'm just doing things wrong or if that's the way things are with Charles Schwab. So that's my 401k. Moving on now to my Roth IRA, which I have pulled up here on my phone. And my Roth IRA has moved. It's gone up to $2,861.05. Pretty good. That's to be expected. I mean, this is calculating the amount of information over the course of 2 months. You guys may know that each month I contribute $200 towards my Roth IRA. So it's to be expected that there's a $400, roughly a little over $400 growth in the Roth IRA department. And the heartbreak of all heartbreaks here, we have my taxable stocks. I include this in here basically as just a way to be completely transparent and honest about my assets, because it is an asset, these stocks I have, but they have continued to just dwindle, and which is kind of sad because they just have. Yeah, that's the state we're in for my regular taxable brokerage account. I picked those stocks a while ago, and I haven't sold them. I haven't done the thing where it's like you see your stocks going down, so you panic sell. Although I did do that with one stock a while ago, which was a Tesla stock. And then 4 months later, the stock rebounded and they did a stock split. And so I really wish I held on to that, because I'd be actually sitting pretty with that account. But unfortunately I didn't. I sold it, and I kind of learned my lesson to not sell anything anymore. If I'm going to buy something, I'm going to hold on to it forever. Yeah. So that brings us to the total value of my assets for the beginning of May, which is $243,431.05. Not bad. I'm actually surprised to see that type of growth. I think most of the growth came from the fact that my savings and cash grew by over $9,000, because we did see some decline in the house value. We did see some decline in the car value and, of course, in the taxable stocks. But thankfully, we are still moving in the positive direction when it comes to my assets with the assets that I have right now. Click, 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 click. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the liabilities that I have. These are the debts I have outstanding, things that I owe. And just briefly, because a lot of these things are kind of staying the same, but just to bring you guys up to speed, I started tracking this back in April of 2021, where at the time I had a private student loan and a car loan. And since then, those things have all been paid off. That's why I've left them here at zero, just as a kind of a headstone. I would say a milestone, but it's kind of like a headstone, a graveyard of past debts that I owe that have been defeated. They're gone. So I'm very pleased with having that, and I only have 2 outstanding debts left. The government student loan, which I've already put in here because that one doesn't really change. I'm contributing towards this in the form of saving into a high interest savings fund, as I mentioned earlier. So we're not going to see any changes with this account. However, my mortgage loan listed here, this one we are going to see a little bit of change with. And as many of you know, if you've ever had a mortgage loan, you can make those monthly payments, but especially with me in a 30-year mortgage, you're going to see very little change in your actual outstanding balance on the loan. So for me, I know this is 2 months from February to now, and the only change we have seen is now it is down to this amount right here. So you're like, wow, that's been almost 3 months and 3 months worth of mortgage payments, and we've seen only that amount of change, which is not that much. But that's how it is with a mortgage. So it is what it is, and we just have to accept it because that's how the first several years are with paying off a 30-year mortgage. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this section for liabilities, so we need to figure out what the sum of all of this is, and there it is. Thankfully, it's still going down. My liabilities are now at $201,401.99. So with the green column up above, it's always good that that number goes up. With the red column, it's always good that that number goes down. So what we need to do now to round out this video is figure out what my total net worth is going to be for this month, the month of May 2023. And I already think it's actually going to spit it out. It's right there. I did that before pressing record. Surprise! So May of 2023, my total net worth, if we were to take all my assets and subtract from that my liabilities, the total amount of net worth we would have left over is $42,029.06. And for some of you, you're like, that's nothing. That's peanuts. That's you're not even in 100,000s yet. And for some of you, that's like, wow, you're above negative. And I appreciate you guys. And for me, I'm just looking at this and saying that it's, as I've heard repeatedly on here in my comment section, that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. That's how it is with most things finance. You're not trying to just get rich quick. You're not trying to just watch your net worth grow to over $1 million overnight, because typically that's not how it happens. Those are most of the time just fairy tale stories, fantasy stories, and if we try to base real life, most of our reality off of what we see someone do, like they win the lottery and it changes their life, no comment on that. But yeah, they would increase your net worth, but that's not how things are typically happening in most people's lives. So we try not to look to those things. We try to just look at the patterns, and the patterns here are that I'm growing each month, which is nice, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you guys for sticking around, providing encouragement, providing feedback on what you guys are doing to help increase your own net worth, to help pay off your own debts, and to increase your assets. It's really fun to hear from you guys. People who are kind of in my situation. Some of you are a little bit advanced beyond my situation. You don't have any more debts. You've already paid off your mortgage or your student loans. So be sure to leave a comment down below about how your month is going with your net worth, with paying off debt, with increasing your assets. I'll be sure to like each comment and hopefully reply to any and all comments that I get. Thank you guys once again, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.